And hopefully he can figure out how to get that microphone working. Hang on a minute. That's it. You're on.
Okay. All right. Well,
I asked him the first thing to explain in Sunday school. You'll notice his voice is different. You can use this or not, however you want to do it.
lean on it or what?
Yeah, lean on it. Yeah. But Rich, well, tell them about your speech issue. It's all related to this story.
Yeah, and thanks for the microphone. By the way, part of the after effects of my brain surgery almost 20 years ago was that I was left with one set of vocal cords, the other one's paralyzed, and a partial paralysis in my tongue and throat. So, small price to pay, I guess, given what could have happened. But so the microphone's going to help because my speech becomes somewhat slurred at times. But anyway.
Let me interrupt you a second. I told him, why don't you ride over from church with me? And he says, no, I don't want to talk.
My speech wears out. You'll find that out after time. Man, this thing's great. I wish I had this one by my grandkids. Anyway, the fall of 1999, I began having these headaches, small headaches. And then they became, kind of then come and go. So long story short, I went to the doctor. He sent me for an MRI. The MRI people, did their thing. And as a story I told in Sunday school at Trinity, the day I stopped by to pick up my MRI slides on the way to the neurosurgeon, the lady that brought my slides out really looked like she was in severe pain, knowing what was on the slide, because what I had was near fatal. And anyway, I went to the consultation with a neurosurgeon, and we discussed what was wrong. We said I had a tumor adjacent to my brainstem, which is a very sensitive area of the brainstem. It connects everything in your brain to everything down here. And I asked him, well, how long will I be in the hospital? He said probably a week if things go well, but things didn't go well. They ran into complications with what they call arachnoid or spider-like growths entangled in the nerves from the brainstem. So 5.5 hours of surgery, 5 weeks in ICU. That's pretty rare too. But tell me if I'm leaving anything out, because I've never done this twice in one day.
I'll interrupt.
Okay. So, and please, any of you, if you have questions while I'm doing this, just stop me. I don't want this to be a discussion. So 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks in ICU.
Tell them about the 1 week, 2 week.
Oh, what?
When he wanted to do the surgery.
Oh, yeah, and I asked the doctor, he said, they were going to get me in within a week to do the surgery, and I asked him, well, what if I don't have this done now? Can I wait? And he said, you probably will be gone in 2 weeks if you don't have this done. Well, what I have to tell you is I'll be 66 in 2 weeks from now. But I was 46 when this happened. I was in excellent shape. I was running a lot. 15, 18 miles a week. So I was in very excellent shape. And talk about how things are predestined, if you will, to happen. I'm going to stop here in certain parts of this and tell you things. I remember going for a physical a year before this ever happened to me. And during my annual physical with my doctor, this exercise thing came up. And he said, I told him I run. He said, well, how far do you run? And I said, 15, 18 miles a week, probably maybe 4.5, 5 miles at a time. He said, well, you're wasting your time. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, anything over 2 miles is really unnecessary. You might as well just stop and go home. 2 miles is about all you need. Well, there was something about that rung in my head. And I'm convinced that extra bit of conditioning saved me after the surgery. I mean, we could probably talk about that all day, but I very narrowly escaped not making it through this thing. So anyway, and by the way, Peter, I probably have told this story to you years ago after this happened. I'm not even sure. But anyway, So I had the surgery, 5 weeks in ICU, in and out. It was during that time, 2 weeks approximately after the surgery, that I had this one most vivid near-death experience. And keep in mind, I'm wired up to all the machines in ICU. I think all of us are probably familiar with it because we've got loved ones, we know people, or maybe you've been there yourself. But I vividly remember the one moment where I'm lying in the bed with my arms crossed. I take this deep breath, I let it out, and at that moment, I'm moving, I'm accelerating physically forward through one amount of space that felt like a half a mile or so in a few seconds. And let me say that, as we all know, we've seen the movies, we've read the books about near-death experiences, and they're all different. Everyone tells it differently as far as seeing a light at the end of a tunnel or floating above themselves in the operating room. Well, to me, it was just accelerating forward and then finding myself standing in this room, just a simple room with a wall with 2 doors. And the most impactful memory I have of this moment, and again, 20 years is a long time to reflect on something, but this immediate feeling I had was this euphoric feeling of well-being and strength and warmth. And in addition to that, it's very unlike a dream. A dream is, we've all dreamt things that were wonderful, and I really wish I could relive that or dream that over again. Well, when you're in that state after life, you have a physical presence. You're not floating, you're not just seeing something, you're actually there. And you have this strength about you that's just indescribable, it's unimaginable. And during that moment I was there, and I immediately felt a warmth on my face, and I felt this warmth pass through me. It took a couple seconds to just move through me, and I continued to just stand here and have this awareness of this euphoric feeling. And this one thing, and I never got over that the entire time I was there. This whole episode by the time probably lasted less than a minute. Well, soon after, or a few seconds after I'm in this place, there's 2 doors on this wall. The second door opens, and this lady walks through this door. It was my wife's aunt, who had passed about 12 years prior to this experience I had. And through discussion with people and so forth over the last 20 years, people commonly ask me, well, why was it this lady? Well, see, my father passed away when I was 10 months old. I never knew him, but so have my grandparents, so have several other friends and relatives. But no, it was my wife's aunt. And as I went to move towards her and to hug her, as I always would do, that's when they revived me. This is where I'll tell the funny part, where it's as if they threw a bucket of ice water on me in the hospital bed in ICU. And I woke up, I looked at this nurse, and God forgive me, but I wanted to strangle this nurse. I was so upset that she brought me back from this place that I looked at her with this alarm, feeling, and I really wanted to know, why did you bring me back here? Because, to be honest, I would still be there. I wouldn't be here today if I had my choice at that time. And I'm convinced if I had my choice, I would have gone through that doorway with her, and I probably would have met my father and seen my relatives. But it's remarkable, as I told you in Trinity this morning, it's remarkable how you can go from a state of being so weak in a hospital bed, and then at that moment where you pass, within a few seconds, you have this strength and vitality. One thing I brought up this morning during an earlier talk, I can tell you for a fact, because I'm sure you people haven't met that many people who have been through this and come back to tell you about it. All of those people, all of your loved ones, all of your friends, relatives, and so forth, if they could come back and tell you where they're at and tell you how wonderful it is, then you'd understand more about it. Because as much as it may not sound like something you want to hear, they wouldn't come back. It's that wonderful. And it's hard to digest because unless you can hear it from someone, it's hard to understand. We talk about how we live our lives, in our association with preachers and people who tell us that, well, this is a wonderful place. If you believe in, Jesus' resurrection, if you believe in life after death, there's a place for you. Well, I still say, as I said this morning, we go through life like this oftentimes. We have faith, but there's a little bit of this in the back of our minds, hoping that it comes true, hoping that it's really there. But when I first started telling this story several years ago, it was brought up that we've all seen this stuff on television, documentaries where there are skeptics that don't believe in this. They say, well, you're in the hospital, you're under medication, it's the brain playing tricks on you. Well, one thing I know for sure from my conversations with people in the hospital, I was under no medication at the time this happened to me. They weaned me off of everything. It was only a matter of time and letting everything heal to pull me back together. But at the moment this happened, there was no medication. I was wired up to all the machines, and they verified in ICU that I was gone. And they didn't know if they were going to be able to bring me back. So.
Talk about this a little bit more. Did you catch what he was talking about, or maybe do you understand what he meant?
I mean, yeah, again, throughout our life, the whole definition of faith. Okay. You have faith? Yes, I believe I'm going to heaven. But I think in reality, a lot of people are still, I'm hoping it's there. By the time I get there, I'm hoping. I've heard all my life. I believe it's there. But when you're able to go to a place and see it and experience it, then I think that kind of cements the fact that, yeah, it's there. And, go ahead.
I just had a quick question. It's kind of going off of what you were talking about, but when you were in that time frame in your life, were you as much of a religious man, or was it something you were questioning? And do you think that where you were religiously played into where you went?
Growing up, when I was young, very young, we were going to Sunday school. We were going to church. Okay, I didn't church. I can honestly say at the time this happened, I probably didn't go to church that much. However, now, I'm probably there every Sunday, right? Unless I'm traveling or something. Yeah, I'm there. But I can't really say at the time that happened, it wasn't related to a current state of mind I was in as far as questioning anything. No.
What do you think God's purpose was in allowing you to experience that?
Thank you very much for asking that question. What was the purpose? And this is something over a 20-year period, especially immediately after. My question is, why couldn't I stay? Why did I have to come back here? I did not want to come back. I firmly believe now, after years of contemplating this, the purpose in me coming back was doing this, telling people. How many people do you guys know who have died and come back to tell you about it? That's the purpose. I'm convinced.
Can I share my story with you?
Yeah.
Rich, I had met Rich at what was in Royal Fitness. We worked out together. He also knew my wife.
What's your stand?
And he came over to our house once to help me brew beer. But he told his story, which moved both of us. Patty had been raised in a household that was nominally Jewish. They didn't practice religion, but they were Jews. When she died, it was really hard on her sister. Her sister came to be with us and was really struggling. Rich felt moved one day to come over and visit with me. But when he got to the house, I wasn't there. Patty's sister was. And he shared his story with Kenny. And when I got home, Kenny was suddenly changed because of that. And when I talked to Rich later, he agreed that he might have thought he was coming to minister to me, but he was really being sent to minister to Kenny's sister.
You know what, I didn't remember that, but as you mention it now, I do recall that. Yeah, that's amazing. But yeah, it's back to the question, thanks very much for bringing that up. It's amazing. I mean, people, another question I have from people, well, how has this changed you as a person? And I don't know that it really has, because it's been my ability to tell the story to a lot of different people, even people who don't believe that there's, a creator and there's a heaven. And that's probably been the most impactful, because when I tell them, describe the situation of being in ICU, wired up to all the machines, so they verified that you were dead, you were gone. That's had an impact on people who, they've never been near a church in their lives.
But you also don't have to live like this.
No, I don't live like this anymore, because I know it's there. And I'm still me. I mean, the fact is, we're all sinners. I mean, what's the saying? What does without sin cast the first stone or whatever? We all do things. I mean, I just retired last year. I spent 35 years in the business environment. If you don't think there's sinners there, well, I don't have a story for you.
Tell us more about your wife's aunt.
Oh yeah, the lady I saw during this experience, I walked to this store, and as I told people that, I had all these relatives passed, and it was my wife's aunt. Interesting story about this lady, who I wouldn't say I was extra close to her. I mean, we were friends, we always hugged, as do most people in my family, always hugged each other. This same lady, I'm going to try and paint this picture for you. She's my mother-in-law's sister. Well, those two ladies, their mother died, I think, about age 91, 92. At the time, she was living with my mother-in-law. This is over in Indiana. And one night, about 2, 3 o'clock, wee hours in the morning, my mother-in-law woke up. Her mom was across the hall. Pick this in, if you can picture this. Her mother's across the hall. Her sister, Juanita, who I saw in my experience, had already passed away. She was gone a few years. So, wee hours in the morning, my mother-in-law wakes up. And this same lady I see in this near-death experience, this same lady standing in her bedroom doorway. And she says, Marie, my mother-in-law, she says, Marie, I've come to take Mother home. And that's the night their mother died. And you kind of, you goosebumps. So do I. And my mother-in-law didn't tell me this story until after I told her what happened in the hospital. So, and as I raised the question this morning, do some people have more of a divine connection in terms of coming to us in these moments? I mean, some people, again, this lady wasn't unusually close to me, but why was it her that I saw that my mother-in-law saw? Interesting thing.
Another question that came up in Sunday school was, do you think people, why wasn't it your dad? Why wasn't it someone? Do you think it's possible that certain people have sort of a mission on, even in that world? Somebody was reporting that they had heard or read a book that was talking about how we have roles in heaven,
right?
And there are jobs to do, and maybe Juanita's job is to go bring people,
Possibly, yeah.
and kind of a verification of that. Rich was asking, are there certain people that have certain spirits? Well, Mary Lou's grandson, Eli. If you've met Eli, he's a spirit. I mean, we all are. But there's something about Eli that just, and I don't want him to die and bring me over. That's not what I'm saying. But, there are just certain people that have something about them that just moves you in a spiritual way.
Yeah.
And apparently Juanita, there's something, at least in 2 cases where...
Yeah, it's interesting now. I can't tell you hours and days over a 20-year period how I've tried to put pieces together of this puzzle and figure out why. But the most significant fact I firmly believe, as I said, is that I'm back here to relay this story to people. And they're all different, though. They're all so different. The movies, the books, the stuff you hear on TV, the people they interview about, I was underwater for 30 minutes and came back to life. And everyone will tell you a different story. I encountered this lady one time, this is maybe 5-10 years ago. Someone at church told me about this lady. They called her the angel lady or spirit lady or whatever. She was able to, she died momentarily somehow. She liked to talk to people and have group, sessions about that. And I asked her a question. I said, tell me something. I said, I don't bring this up with many people because I don't want to think I'm some kind of whacked out nut or something, but in church, I can watch certain people at the pulpit. As strange as it sounds, if I would just focus on watching them, I see an aura. I see like a soft, not a bright light, but a soft, faint light. And I see it coming out, I see it going in. And I brought this up with this lady. I said, she said, that ever happened to you? She said, that's an aura. She said, she sees it in colors or whatever. I'm not that far along, but it's just interesting.
The folks here see it too, but it's glare.
Oh, okay.
So, I know this is kind of like a little bit of a discussion, so I'm kind of
Yeah,
working out
that's what I'm great. I'm glad you did
my
it.
own thoughts with it. But if you think of like psychic ability as like a sixth sense of sorts, when your brain's dying, I think it's possibly shutting down all of maybe your other sensory inputs, and much like a person who's can't see, their hearing is heightened. You've gotten that heightened perception, and now you're back and you've kind of got a little bit more of a footing in that sort of realm. Because I think some people have more of that sixth sense than others. And I think yours was maybe enhanced by that
Yeah,
experience.
very good. Yeah, very good stuff. I never really thought of that, but yeah, that's very
If
very
you're
good.
shifting to that
Right.
extrasensory perception only from that point on,
Right. Yeah, it's always been kind of an interesting point to me how at different times in your life you'll encounter people that tell you stories about something that happened with another individual or this and that. And they'll make a comment, they'll say, not a day goes by, I don't think of that. Well, believe me, we've all been through that, we've had that. And there are days that go by, you don't think of it. But with what happened to me, I can honestly say, every single day for 20 years, I didn't get it, and I was praying. I should be praying more often, if I'm being honest. And I did. I thank God for sending me back here and telling this story and having this encounter. Today's been a great day for me, by the way, because I've done this twice, and I really enjoyed doing this. I more enjoyed answering questions and discussing things, but yes.
As Ed said, the spirit, and maybe she had a job to do.
Right.
But did you have a special connection with her in some way?
No, no. I mean, she was very, very quiet, mild-mannered lady, and I always hugged her, and it was always pleasant conversation. But
I mean, there was a special connection that she came to you.
not especially, no. No.
Well, I mean, she had a job to do.
Yeah.
She had a job to do. 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 She had a job to do.
giving some of a wake-up call to let her know that there was some significance there. Yeah.
Well, I think she would have been happy to leave and go,
Right.
but she didn't want to leave the children. They
But
were
see,
younger.
okay, I told this story to people, and then a common question I get is, well, and I tell them, I said, I don't understand it. I didn't want to come back. So, didn't you miss your kids? Didn't you think about them? That's a part of this world. We're all here, all of us here grow up, learn, and our interaction is a part of this world. When you pass on, nothing back in that. It's all such a great experience in a new place. You don't even think about it. Although, as I joke, I still have my mortgage to pay off. You know, get my kids married and all that. Those are bills. Yeah.
When you saw your wife's hand, was it spiritual seeing or
No.
physically?
Physically, just as emotionally. Yeah, everything there was just the same as it is here physically, except for that really unimaginable, could feel that euphoria, that strength and well-being. That kind of, I don't want to say overshadowed, but that engulfed the whole presence of everything. Yeah, but no, as far as me and her, it was the same as you and I.
Yeah, I hope that you were picking up on what Alex was saying and the connection there, because I think he's got something. In fact, Adam triggered me to follow a video not too long ago about this guy who believes that there are more. You know, we got at least 4 dimensions. You were talking about sixth sense and whatnot, but you know, we know width and height and depth and time, but there are dimensions we don't know. And the article that Adam was pointing me to, or the writer was talking about, you know, the more we understand different dimensions, the more we realize the scriptures talk about it. It's a different world. It's beyond. But maybe, and I like what Alex said, it really touched me. We get to a point maybe where we focus on being able to see more, you know, like the person, you use the illustration of a person who's blind, who uses his hearing. You use a different sense, and I think in a spiritual sense that's possibly true too. But now, you know, the scripture says, now we see through a glass darkly. We don't really get it. And I don't think any of us can really get what Rich felt and what he experienced.
No, there's no, that's the toughest part of conveying the story to people, is there's no verbal description for this feeling I had there. That I'm talking about the physical feeling. I'm talking about going from lying almost gone onto an event stage. Say, I had a trach collar with a tube. I had a feeding tube in my stomach because I couldn't swallow. I mean, they were just, they pour fluid in this funnel, the hose that would go directly into my stomach. Then they'd come in with a syringe and pull it out to measure it to see how much I digested. My whole system was shut down. But I can't tell you, when I tell you about this experience, I can't tell you how wonderful it feels over there. I mean, it's like beyond belief.
Well, going along with your system shutting down, tell them about your brain function. I mean, what you said this morning was you were fully there.
Oh yeah, yeah. For the 5 weeks in the hospital, 5.5 weeks, I'm lying in a bed. Basically, the entire time, my brain was fine. I know where I'm at. I know why I'm there. I just cannot move because I'm so physically weak. And the entire time I'm there, I'm thinking to myself, I want to talk. I can't talk, but I want to talk to the medical personnel. Tell them, you don't understand. I shouldn't be here. I'm out there running 7.5-minute miles, 4.5, 5 miles at a time, which is really good for someone my size. If you young people just don't get it, some unhealthy person should be lying here in this bed. But I never could tell them that.
Tell them about going to the restroom.
Oh, can I tell you that story?
You did this morning in Sunday school.
Oh,
That
You had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, well, you know what, I mean, I'm the kind of person, I think I had an appendectomy in my early 20s. That was the only time I've ever been in the hospital. Well, you're in the hospital, you had IVs and the bags and the tubes and all this, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I wasn't going to use that urinal, I was going to the bathroom. And my wife happened to be there, and I got up, and I grabbed that thing stand, I started marching to the bathroom, and my wife said, no, you can't do that. But I still hadn't lost, I lost 30 pounds there, but I hadn't lost that yet. And I took my arteries, pushed it out of the way. Well, long story short, I ripped the needle out of my arm, and I had blood all over the walls in the bathroom, and they put me back in bed. And then that's when their nightmares started, because, as I said this morning, they gave me a few nicknames like the patient from hell, and they called upstairs to the psych ward, and they tied these, I woke up one time from a nap, and they had these canvas straps wrapped around my wrist to the edge of the bed, and I still had my strength. And I thought it was kind of a challenge. That's why I look at stuff like that as an obstacle to get over. If you put me in a position, I'll figure out a way to get around that, that obstacle. So I still had enough strength where I could pull, and they didn't have them real tight anyway, so I stretched them enough to take one strap off, and got that one off, and I was sitting on the edge of the bed when they walked back in the room, and they just kind of stood there and looked at me. But then that's when they started calling me Houdini, because I figured out a way to get around these things. But you have to have a drive. I mean, just go back to simple obstacles in life, or whether it be a health dilemma or whatever. You have to have this inner drive to, whether it requires patience or determination. That's what I am. I'm pretty determined to overcome things.
Rich says he's still the same guy, but I knew him before. I knew we were praying hard. We thought we lost you. And of course, that was 20 years ago. His two daughters were in the youth group that I worked with. He has gotten now to see their weddings and 6 grandkids.
Right.
And he brings the grandkids to swim meets and goes with them and
And paid off mortgage too, by the way. I've never done that in my life, but like I said, I retired last year. I mean, I'll get right down to bare bones. As far as me being, I've worked in the beer industry for 35 years. I still like beer. I mean, I still go. I have a couple of beers in my meals, and I encounter people. Again, like I said earlier, that you don't encounter in the church. And through conversation, I convey to them these stories. And yeah, I think that's a benefit of being who I am, is the people that I'm able to reach out to.
Yeah, but we kind of need to wrap up. Rich is riding with me, so he didn't get home until I take him home. So if somebody needs to talk to him, no, I won't keep him captive. But if some of you,
my day's open.
yeah. Well, I've got to do nursing home later, so
As long as my voice lasts, I'm okay.
let's stand and be dismissed with a prayer, shall we? And we thank Rich for coming and sharing. I hope you feel like this has been a worthwhile time, and if you have other